Hi, so, I got a comment the other day about, the description of the Traveler's outfit. I played through the entire Luna 4 story on stream a couple days ago, and somebody said, man, I wish that somebody would have told you to read the description of the outfit, because now I won't get to see your reaction to it. This one's for you. I have not actually read it yet, but apparently, the outfit description of... There we go. The Traveler apparently has a really long description that is worth reading. As heaven and earth are made anew, it had journeyed through countless worlds and endless distances, surveying every kind of terrain and gazing upon skies tinted in different colors. This might sound romantic. Cyrene. Sorry. This might sound romantic, but in reality, the matter was closer to torture than adventure. It also once pictured a scene like this. Twins standing under the radiant night sky, their eyes shining as they watched the stars and the many moons above. But it immediately disconnected its idea association module. A sky with such colors only meant that the atmosphere was unfit for life. After witnessing such vistas hundreds of times, there was no longer any need to be moved by them. It did not wake the slumbering twin travelers. Instead, it carried the weight of an exile and a journey so long that numbers had lost their meaning. Is it referring to the spaceship? It did not wake the slumbering twin travelers? Is it referring to the ship here? We've had some stuff about the spaceship AI in the past, right? On, past, I believe it was Wings? This one, wing description had something? Is it the spaceship AI? Or just the spaceship in general? It had journeyed through countless worlds and endless distances, surveying every kind of terrain and gazing upon skies tinted in different colors. Yeah. So the ship had been traversing through the galaxy. Might sound romantic, but in reality, it was closer to torture. It also once pictured a scene, twins standing under the radiant night sky, their eyes shining as they watch the stars and the many moons above. So that's, the scene it was looking for, I guess? It was looking for a place where that was possible, but it immediately disconnected its idea association module. A sky with such colors only meant that the atmosphere was unfit for life. Is this about, flying over the skies of Tevat, slowing down, and then moving on for... thousands of years? The fine details of the lithosphere, atmosphere, or biosphere ultimately mattered little. Reshaping terrain, adjusting the air, rebuilding an ecosystem, these were simple tasks for a pioneer vessel meant to bear the spark of civilization. Is the ship AI the heavenly principles? A star's position, its distance, or its lifespan might pose a minor challenge, yet even those had reshaping terrain, rebuilding an ecosystem, a pioneer vessel meant to bear the spark of civilization? That's referring to the primordial one, right? Or at least that's the primordial one did the same thing. Are we still talking about the spaceship here? The true difficulty lay in finding a world with potential. Without that, destruction would catch up all too soon. What in the fucking Honkai Star Rail? Sorry. If that destruction was capitalized, I'd be losing my shit. It was a trivial matter in the span of a long voyage. The planet they passed was never a destination, since its star had already entered its twilight. Its biosphere and atmosphere had been utterly destroyed. The surface held nothing but cooled masses of molten rock. A supernova had caused the devastation. For several weeks or months, intense heat and light had marked the star's final brilliance. After that, it had been reduced to a cold, dim dwarf. It ran a quick calculation on when the event had occurred. What a coincidence. The radiation trapped in the planet's crust indicated that the supernova had erupted the very year the twins were born. Naturally, the two events had nothing to do with each other. No one would ever celebrate their birth by burying an entire world with it. Such levels of extravagance and cruelty simply did not exist. I don't like that phrasing. That feels extremely, sarcastically and cynically phrased, right? That's not just me? That feels wrong. Interstellar travel was dangerous, after all. A supernova 5 or 6 light-years away could damage the genetic vault, and perhaps the twins as well. It immediately modified the garments in the wardrobe, upgrading them with materials better suited for interstellar travel, and laid them over the stasis pods. The gesture might not amount to much, but it offered a quiet kind of comfort. Okay, that confirms this is about the spaceship. Within their slumber, the twins were granted a new refuge, and so it continued its journey across countless lands and stones, numberless atmospheres and skies. I understand why you wanted me to read this now. Oh my god. This compares the spaceship AI to the heavenly principles, as heaven and earth are made anew as well as the name. The planet they passed was never a destination. Is this talking about Teyvat? The planet they passed, because we passed by Teyvat, right? That was revealed in the spaceship flight logs. We passed by Teyvat thousands of years ago. There's a chance that, like, the Abyss sibling, in my instance, Lumine, did leave the ship and landed on their own, but that's speculation on the Traveler's part. And considering the fact that that's the speculation that they make, I'm gonna assume that it's wrong, that it's incorrect, because I don't think they would just straight up give us the answer like that. I refuse to believe they would just give us, like, I mean, unless they haven't given us much. They've just given us, like, that little seed to kind of plant in our minds, but it makes me feel like they're doing something more with that. So I'm not sure. When we passed it, the biosphere and atmosphere had already been utterly destroyed, and the surface already held nothing but cooled masses of molten rock. A supernova had caused the devastation. And that supernova... Okay, no, so that supernova occurred the same year that the twins were born. And then it says here, naturally, the two events had nothing to do with each other. No one would ever celebrate their birth by burying an entire world with it. Such levels of extravagance and cruelty simply did not exist. That feels like gaslighting. That feels like I'm being gaslit. Like, I'm gonna be so fucking for real, that feels like I'm being gaslit. Okay. I'm gonna need to digest this, because... This is a lot. Like, this is insane, like, lore drop. Right. Okay. So, I did some more reading and analyzing and all that stuff, thinking about what the fuck this could mean. And I think it makes sense to me to an extent. So, here's what I think. The twins either used to be a part of another civilization or were the last remnants of a civilization. And they set on a journey with a spaceship, and that spaceship had an AI that was so powerful it could terraform worlds, skies, atmospheres, change everything about a planet to prepare it for human life, specifically life of the twins. Whether this was to, like, it kind of seemed initially like just a scouting mission to me, but the more I think about it, the more I think about the genetic vault that it talks about. That genetic vault, to me, seems like what would that be for? And for me, that seems like repopulation. What, right? This genetic vault contains, like, human DNA, effectively, that can be used to repopulate a planet with humans. And then the twins would be at the center of that. And all that it was trying to do is find a suitable enough planet for this, likely a planet suitable enough to withstand the abyss that's sweeping across the universe, right? And I think that when the ship AI, or when the ship passed over to that, instead of Lumine leaving, or instead of the Abyss twin leaving the ship, it was actually the AI that left the ship along with the genetic vault. And it set the ship itself on a long course throughout the universe, making sure that it would eventually return at Teyvat at the point that its terraforming was done. That ship AI then became the Heavenly Principles, and the genetic vault was used to repopulate the planet with humans. It's why, and I remembered back to this, I forgot if it was an event or if it was a story quest, but at some point we did something together with Albedo, where we effectively asked him, like, are we similar to, like, humans? Are we, like, what are we? And Albedo concluded that our structure is very similar to that of the human beings in Teyvat, which, like, how could that be possible unless they were literally created from the genetic vault that was made up by, like, our DNA, right? By our genetics. That's the only reason that like, these humans all look so similar to us. And it would also make sense that then, like, there are things in this world that we can just kind of interact with because this planet was terraformed and changed for us specifically. It's why we can interact with the statues. It's why we can interact with the teleport waypoints despite no one else being able to. And if you click on the teleport waypoints, its description says that, like, they're structures that have appeared around Teyvat, and to the traveler, their use seems quite obvious. As if they were put there for us specifically, because they were put there for us specifically. So then, like, timeline of events. Ship flies over Teyvat, and it notices this planet, despite it being in utter ruins right now, is actually suitable with enough terraforming. So the AI leaves the ship along with the genetic vault and becomes known as the Heavenly Principles. The ship's AI then terraforms this planet, starts a war against the dragons, one that it ultimately wins, and along with stealing the authority of the moons, establishes Celestia, establishes the Four Shades, and establishes the rules of this planet. Now, everything went fine until Nibelung returned, and that kind of threw off the Heavenly Principles' plans. I'm assuming that it likely used a large amount of its strength to fight against Nibelung and to fight in the War of Funerary Flame, enough so that obviously the Abyss was able to creep back into Teyvat again, right? That's how the Conrian cataclysm started, because King Ermin wanted to use the Abyss. So my guess is when the spaceship finally returned to Teyvat, right before the time of the Conrian cataclysm, King Ermin and the Conrians summoned the person we now know as the Abyss sibling to them, sidestepping what their actual arrival would have initially been. So they did not they didn't leave the ship naturally. King Ermin might have even tracked down the spaceship. Maybe what? Oh my god, wasn't it Horoptatir who figured everything out? Did Horoptatir somehow figure out what the Heavenly Principles was? And because of that, King Ermin was able to effectively intercept the spaceship. It literally says, like, made a forced landing, right? When they're talking about the spaceship at the end of the Archon quest on the moon, the Traveler says, we, like, made a short stop in Teyvat's orbit, left, and then thousands of years later, we made a forced landing in Nodcry. So did King Ermin bring the ship down and then summon the Abyss sibling, effectively sidestepping their usual wake-up, because even then the ship did not wake us up. We didn't get woken up until then the whole thing with the keys happened, the space and time for you paradox with Deirdre, where the Abyss sibling remembers all of a sudden that we exist, returns to the spaceship in Nodcry, wakes us up, and then the both of us leave, or attempt to leave, and the Shade of Space stops us from leaving, because this is meant to be our home planet. Like, this planet was made for us, specifically. But then, what then happened to our... Like, everything from then on out is completely blurry, and I'm so confused. But, like, what would that make Paimon? We know Paimon has a relation to the Heavenly Principles of some sort. We are, like, pretty certain of that at this point. Would that make Paimon, like, a portion of the ship's AI? That was, like, meant to guide us through this new planet? Like, is that why Paimon is like, the ultimate Teyvat travel guide? Right? Is that why she's our guide? Because she is a fragment of this AI that terraformed this planet for us specifically, so of course she would be, like, the ideal guide throughout this planet? Is that why? Is that what Paimon is? Is that why Paimon has AI in the name? And of course, I mean, Paimon's also, you know, one of the demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon. So, just like all the Archons are, right? Just like Barbados, Buer, Baal, Morax, what else we got? All of them are demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon, and so is Paimon. So, is it like the human part of the AI, and then that would also explain why potentially the Heavenly Principles are asleep. Maybe like the AI is damaged. It would explain why our ship got hidden on the moon by the Heavenly Principles. The ship itself, like the ship's AI itself, like transported it to the moon and hid itself, because if anyone were to inspect those flight logs and if anyone were to find out what the Heavenly Principles actually were, like that's knowledge that it didn't want anyone else to learn about. So that would make sense. That would explain a lot of things. Oh my god. Fuck, dude. Well, I'm gonna leave this here. And, feel free, like, if I got anything wrong, or if you have, like, anything to add, or anything that I missed, please, for the love of God, add it in the comments, and, like, please, I will read all of your extensive rants on this, alright? I'll read all of them. That's insane. We're in the fucking endgame. Alright, I'm gonna leave it here. Y'all have a good one. The full, Archon quests, apart from Act, 5 and 6, are available as VODs on the stream section of my channel, so if you want to go and watch those, go right ahead. And then, yeah, I'll talk to you all whenever we have another Archon quest, or I'll be talking in the comments below, to all of you, if you have, like, additional theories or something to add. Thank you so much, random commenter, for telling me to read this. You're a real one. Alright, see y'all later. Bye-bye.